To put out a quick disclaimer, these cards may relate to your distant or recent past, far or near future. Present cards may be your overall situation or an aspect or something specific. Pick the image you were first drawn to on the thumbnail, and I'll include the thumbnail again for you to, recollect which one you saw first. And I'll see you at your reading. Hello, pile one. So if you chose image one, this is going to be your reading for your past, present, and your future. So when it comes to, just a quick overview, when it comes to your past, one card is going to represent what you've been through, the lessons that still matter, your roots, basically what shaped you and where you've been. Your present is what's happening right now around you, where you are in your life currently, what energy is surrounding your life right now, and your future is going to be where you headed, what's coming next, what direction things are moving towards for you. What direction are things moving for you? So we're gonna get one card. What is people who chose this image one? What is their past? What card represents their past? People who chose image one, what card represents their present? For people who chose image one, what card represents their future? Okay. All right. Before we start the reading, there's not going to be an energy check. Well, I guess your past card is going to be your energy check. And if something doesn't resonate with you, feel free to pick another pile. And so we're going to start with your past. Pile one's past. The World card. For pile one, you may have always felt different or othered. You could have been a victim of bullying or prejudice even. You might be a minority, or you might come from a foreign country, a third world country even. You may have been raised to be an overachiever, or you may have had parental figures that were overcritical. For example, say if you wanted to wear a certain outfit, and then your parental figures or whoever was, your parental guide at the time, they were like, you can't wear this outfit because it makes you look this certain way. I do feel like there was a lot of restrictions. And I do feel like you may have been a daydreamer. You may have had big goals and dreams, possibly even moving, traveling even. I feel like this pile was plagued with so many desires to have something different. Something significant may have happened to you when it comes to 2020, 2019, 2021. Maybe an awakening. Maybe when you first actually were able to travel out the country or accomplish a goal. But I feel like people have always made you feel like what you wanted was foolish or out of reach. And I feel like you may have had a lot of naysayers when it comes to any and everything. I do feel like you've had a not difficult life, but I do feel like it was trying. And I feel like the main issue here when it comes to your past, and maybe even now, is that basically honing in on your desires and trying your best not to listen to people who doubt what you want. I feel like a lot of transformation had to take place for you, pile one, in regards to yourself. It's more so like a journey. It's more so like your past is more so talking about a journey of how should I put this? Like a journey of prioritizing your needs and what you want, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of what people are saying, you know, is possible. Believing that what may seem impossible is actually possible. And I feel like even in the near future, like during the pandemic, I feel like you've had a realization that something had to change when it comes to, you know, just realizing that things don't have to be the way that they are. That I'm stuck in this box and I don't have to be stuck in the box. You may have been pushed to perform. You know, it seemed perfect, you know. What else? What else for Pile 1's cast? 8 of Cups. We have the 9 of Pentacles. The 10 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups. Yeah. I don't think that your past was, you may have had both of your parents. You may have had both of your parents, or at least one very loving figure that, that took care of you, made sure that you had everything you need. And you may have kind of felt bad for, or ungrateful for wanting more. You know, I don't think that your childhood was the worst, but it wasn't perfect. But you had these thoughts, you had these plans, you had these goals, and you felt bad for wanting more, but you wanted more. And you may have also had to, you might be the oldest. You might be the oldest child. Or you may have had to look after a sibling or look after someone. You may have also had a pet. But you weren't fulfilled. You had a loving figure, but you weren't fulfilled. You have been sheltered as well. You may have been sheltered. You may have had a strict parent. And as soon as you reached adulthood, I don't know if you're an adult now. And if you're not an adult, I mean, need I say that these readings are for 18 and older? I mean, if you're not an adult, just don't tell me, right? But if you're not an adult, I feel like you will realize sooner. We haven't gotten to that, you know, part of your reading, but I think you will realize the psychological effects that when it comes to having a parent that raised you to be an overachiever, or, you know, raised you strictly. I feel like you'll realize the effects that it has on you, because I do see here that you may be a little naive, and you may have gotten a taste of adulthood, or that time when you first did get a taste of adulthood, it didn't feel good, and you realize that you weren't prepped for this stage in your life properly because you were so sheltered, because, you know, your parents were so strict. And your feelings you may feel like your feelings may have been validated when it comes to your goals. May have felt invalidated when it comes to your goals, what you want. You know, it's like a feeling here of feeling foolish for wanting more than what you were given. I do feel like that you struggle with, I mean, I think there could be some room of improvement here when it comes to feeling grateful for what you have. But I do feel like you struggle, you know, with, you know, changing your perspective and realizing that it could be worse. Now, I'm not saying that you have to necessarily neglect your feelings or invalidate your feelings, but I do feel like perspective is everything. And I'm learning this too now. It's like, in the moment, things really are probably not as bad as they seem. For example, I graduated high school, and I hated high school. Like, I hated high school. I felt like I didn't fit in. It felt like survival. I hated waking up so early. I remember wishing for me to get older already, to become an adult. And when I tell you, I wish that I cherished that moment in my life, because I look back and I'm just like, you know what? I would do that shit all over again. I really wish that I didn't take for granted that part of my life. I wish I put myself out there more. I wish I didn't care about what other people thought about me. And I feel like the same thing could be applied to you. It's like, perspective is everything. And I'd hate to see you regret how you feel now and letting it impact your future and the adventures that you could go on, the goals that you could accomplish. I feel like that's part of your transformation here, is really honing in on your present. You could be a person that, pays attention to the past a lot, or always thinks about the past. Or maybe even, you might even hold grudges a little bit for some. Again, take what resonates. Everything doesn't have to resonate with you. This is a general reading. But you may also, may hold grudges because you do realize that how you were raised wasn't the best, because how do you have all this baggage, or how were you not equipped with the proper tools to navigate life? And you may hold a grudge or something like that, but like I said, perspective is everything. Let's take a look at your present. What's happening right now around you and where you are in your life. You have the Three of Pentacles. Let's get some clarifier cards. Can you clarify how one's present? Six of Cups. 5 of Wands. 75 of Swords. 7 of Pentacles. There's a feeling here when it comes to your present. There's a feeling here of going with the flow. Going with the flow, abiding by the status quo. Going to work, coming home, eating, sleeping, and repeat. I feel like Power One, I feel like you're someone who likes adventure, or at least craves adventure. And you see how these dogs right here, they're stacked on top of each other, but they can unstack themselves. And I feel like as of now, you're realizing, or soon you will realize, that life can be as fun as you make it. Life doesn't have to be about taking a trip with friends. You should. You might even think about collabing with people. You should. I think as of now, I think you're supposed to learn that you don't necessarily need collaboration in order to make your life move. You could be experiencing conflict with others, and it's like, I feel like as of now you're realizing that it's like not giving into solitude. It's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. I feel like you're realizing that you run into problems and certain patterns when you do collab with others, and even when you don't. But there's a feeling here of patiently waiting. You could be getting more into your faith as well. Whatever you practice, it could be whatever religion you practice, you could be getting more into your faith. It's very much so a feeling of coming back to home, or even being nostalgic, doing things that you used to do in your past as well. Watching things, it could be shows, it could be playing games, it could be reading. I feel like there's a nostalgic feeling here, as well as integrating different things to try and make yourself whole. Try and make yourself whole again. And this could be a feeling of distracting yourself, coping mechanisms, in the form of distraction, integrating different things to try and make yourself whole. And I feel like as of now, I feel like you do have pain, Power One, and you might feel like it's minimal, or but I'm seeing here that there is some unresolved pain here, and it could be from your past. And you might be the type of person that honestly just pushes it down and keeps moving forward. But you do a disservice to yourself, because I feel like in your present, you're using these distractions. You're using these coping mechanisms, and to try and make yourself feel better, try and make yourself feel whole. But there's still this pain here that is going to keep following you. It's going to keep catching up to you, whether it's pain from your past, But you're very much so the type to keep trudging forward. And with this card here with the owl on it, it says pivot drive. And this is where Harry Potter lived, right? This is where Harry Potter lived. And Harry Potter was very much so treated like Cinderella, okay? His aunt and uncle hated him because they didn't like who he was. He was a wizard, and they knew that. And they tried to keep him down as much as they could. They tried to belittle him as much as they could. They had him sleeping under the staircase, in a very small room under the staircase. And they blatantly treated their son like better than him. And I don't know if that's your life, or if that's how you currently feel. Again, you might be a minority. You might be a marginalized. You might be a part of a marginalized group. LGBT, someone who is othered in some way. And you may also try, in your present life, you may also try and make do with that fact. You know, you might try and push it down. But I feel like you do a disservice to yourself when you try and push that fact down. And I get it. It's easier said than done to fight a system. But I feel like you can do something as little as, I don't know, if you do face microaggressions, or if someone does treat you blatantly like another, you can do something as little as stick up for yourself in that moment. Because there's pain here. And the more you just try and shut your pain out, the more you do a disservice to your psyche and your well-being. Let's see what's in your future. The Ace of Cups. See, I like this. I like this. I like this. I like this. The Ace of Cups is moving towards you. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. And maybe even a love interest, or love, unrequited love. But you see how this Dragon's Cup is full. You know, it's a feeling of seeing the glass full rather than half empty. And this could be self-love too. A feeling of self-love. And I do see you validating your existence more. Maybe even putting, you know, effort into your appearance, glowing up even. And you might also receive a miracle. I feel like God here. God is present. You might actually receive a miracle. God is prevalent in this card. And honestly, just loving on yourself more. Again, this could be talking about a love interest, but this card more so feels like of the self, you know. And you might receive therapy too, or I mean, this might be your sign to try and get some, you know, and try and work through your emotions. I love these cards. I love these cards. Yeah, I just got these yesterday, and they're so big, and I love me a big card. Okay, I love me a gigantic card. But let's see what else. What else about the Ace of Cups? The Eight of Swords, King of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Three of Cups. I feel like there's going to be this fire within you that kind of erupts, you know. Like I said, like I mentioned before, like you sticking up for yourself, you advocating for yourself. I do feel like that eventually you're going to embody that energy. But also your thoughts, pile one. You might need to do affirmations, or you might need to journal or write. Pretty much so just journal, like journal speaking life into yourself, like I am loved, or I am that bitch, or I'm the shit, or you know, whatever affirmations that declare that you are that girl and or guy. Like, you get what I'm saying, you know? And I do feel like your thoughts are probably what, you know, keep you captive, keep you in captivity, you know, trapped inside your mind. I do see you, you know, staying resilient. And I think you are going to get a love interest, because we have the Nine of Cups here, the Knight of Cups here. You might get a love interest. I do see love in your future, so don't worry about that. But I do feel like it's necessary for you to get your psyche, your well-being in check, and also therapy and journaling, and honestly instilling that self-love in yourself, making sure your cup is full before you can pour out into other people's cups. That's in your future. I love that for you, actually. Pile 1. I do. And I'll leave this here, and I'll see you another time, okay? I hope you enjoyed your reading, and I hope it resonated. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye. For those of you who chose image 2, welcome to your reading. Please keep in mind that these cards may relate to your distant or recent past, far or near future, and the present may be your overall situation or an aspect of something specific. Let's choose past card. Your past card is going to represent what you've been through, the lessons that still matter, and your roots, basically what shaped you and where you've been. Your present card is going to be what's happening around you and where you are in life right now. Your future card is going to be where you are headed, what's coming next for you, and the direction things are going for you. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. So keep in mind, take what resonates, leave the rest. Thank you. So let's see what's your past looking like. We have the Hive Code. Eugene Ottinger. Ottinger? That's his last name? What the hell? Ottinger. Let's see what this card says. I'm gonna read it if you don't mind. Ottinger. Eugene Ottinger. Hive Code. Are you interested in the ancient art of beekeeping? Eugene Ottinger and his Apiary allies can show you a thing or two about loyalty. When outcasts band together, they can create a vibrant, buzzing community of equals. You don't have to act alone all the time, especially where others want to lift you up, whether with their wings or their words. A good group is worth sticking to like honey. Okay. When it comes to your past, I feel like you might be the peacekeeper, the person that doesn't like conflict. When I think of a bee, I think of someone who keeps their head down, does what they're supposed to do, work, and pretty much keeps themselves mind their own business. There could be an energy here of if we're talking about your childhood in a literal sense, you could be that child that try not to bother their parents with their emotions. You could have been a child that was independent. What is that word called? It's like, is it still filming? Okay, it is still filming. I forgot what that word is called, but basically like the child that tries not to is like independent. You could have also been that person that liked to keep the peace, the peacemaker, a person that doesn't like conflict. And when it comes to Eugene and his character, I don't know if you watched the Wednesday series. These are Wednesday Oracle cards. Eugene was a nerd. He was a beekeeper, and he pretty much stayed in his shack of bees and took care of the bees, collected honey. Basically he did the responsibilities of a beekeeper. And Eugene didn't really even have friends, and people didn't even really talk to Eugene except for Wednesday. But Wednesday only came to him when she needed something. And you could resonate with this as well. People would only come to you when they needed something, or you also could have had responsibilities, in the past of having to raise someone. You could be the oldest. But Eugene was an outcast among the outcast. And I feel like he was also misunderstood. And because you got his archetype card, I feel like you might resonate with his story, especially from your past, whether it comes to a specific situation or whether it comes to just in general, when it comes to your childhood. But I feel like you very much so had to sacrifice yourself for others. You could have suffered from people pleasing in your past, maybe even in the present, but since this is the past card, we're going to talk about your past. And when you think of a hive, you think of a team, a group effort. And I feel like that's all you wanted, was someone to understand you. You wanted friends. You wanted someone to see you as an equal. And you couldn't help. You couldn't help who you were and what you lacked. And so I feel like you may have had a problem with overcompensation. And you allow people to use you. You allow people to use you to feel validated. And again, if this doesn't resonate with you, then feel free to pick another pile. This is kind of, your past card is kind of the energy check to see if this is your pile. But Eugene ended up being accepted in the end, eventually. I think he had a glow up. I think he had a glow up, but it took them saving the school in order for him to be seen as an equal, because he did help Wednesday in saving the school. But at what cost? I mean, he almost died to try and save Wednesday, to try and save the school and Wednesday. And this isn't about me or anything, but to give an example, one time I went broke for trying to help a friend, and I was doing it out of people-pleasing tendencies. And that's something that you could resonate with as well. Maybe not to that extent, but something along the lines of the same thing. And you might there's a feeling here of just wanting to be validated, being inclusive, being a girl's girl, or a boy's boy, I think. Or, wait. I don't want to assume any genders. I'm sorry. I think most of my audience, though, is female, and some are male. A good amount of male audience members I have. Female too, but I think female outweighs the male. All right. Anyway. You give sympathy and have empathy for others, because you know how it feels. You know how it feels to be othered. You know how it feels for people to, not extend the same grace that you extend to others. You know how it feels to be on the outside looking in. And I feel like you let that drive you. You let that drive you to extend grace to others. But I feel like you don't get that same energy reciprocated. And I'm so sorry, Patu. I feel like you had to learn early on to kind of sacrifice, to kind of lay your jacket down so people could walk over the puddle. Because you may have realized that that's what gets you accepted. When you're the martyr, when you sacrifice for others. And I feel like, given you're a beekeeper, well, given that you have the beekeeper archetype, I feel like we're not there yet, but I feel like you have to form your own crowd. You have to form your own community, because you may have also feel like an outcast too. And I feel like in order to find out where you truly belong, you have to form your own community. I know. But I feel like your tribe will come, But I feel like you have to be the ringleader of your own community. Let's see what's going on in your present. Yeah. The passion in reverse. What's going on in your present? When I think of Gomez Addams is very loyal, very service oriented, very family oriented, loves his family. And also he also, when I think of the original series, he was also in his own world too, just like Eugene. Gomez was also in his own world. But the difference between Eugene and Gomez is that Gomez formed his own tribe, his family, his wife and his 2 kids, Wednesday and Pugsley. Gomez made his own home, and like I was talking about earlier, but Gomez was also in his own world. He was shooting up the basement and shit. Like, he was just up In the original black and white version, like Gomez was just always running amok. Like Gomez was always up to some shit. Like, but yeah, but it's in the reverse. And what this is telling me is, when passion is in the reverse, it could mean if we want to take it at face value, it could mean battling depression, feeling inadequate, etc., etc. Let's see. There's a reversal meaning for this card. Let's read it. Be mindful not to grow reckless in your pursuits. Your passion may steer you into many peerless situations. How thrilling. But feeding your inner flame can lead to an inferno of problems if your desire turns into unhealthy obsessions. So what this is telling me is, I feel like your heart is closing. Patu. I feel like your heart is closing. I feel like you are changing. And you might not like what you're becoming. The good thing is that it's reversible. And also, you're not a bad person. Gomez is not a bad person, you know? I feel like Gomez, as the man of the family, Gomez acts he protects his family out of, I guess, out of a notion that he has to, because they are different. And he's going to protect his family because people don't understand them. And so Gomez is not a bad person, regardless of what choices he makes. And I know in the series, he was accused of killing a classmate, but it was actually Morticia. And Gomez took the fall for it. Gomez took the fall for it. I think it was Morticia. I have to rewatch it again. But he did take the fall for it, and basically took the reputation of, I killed someone. And he held that secret. But with the description here of the Oracle card in the reverse, engaging in reckless behavior, or you might be, experiencing a lot of anger about you. But it's fair to say, in the present, you should at least be careful. What else? What else for Power 2 present card? The Four of Wands. Yeah, you could think about being mean to people. I feel like you have gotten meaner. About to. I feel like you have gotten meaner, but your level-headedness and your ability to celebrate others and to pour life into others hasn't changed. It hasn't went away. I feel like you're in the transitional stage of being more selfish. It's like you heard that saying, like, it gets worse before it gets better. It's like you have to go through this period of anger and uncertainty to transition into that phase of, I'm protective, I set my boundaries. You get what I'm saying? And no one ever talks about that, Patu. No one ever talks about the process of getting to that point of being selfish when you were once too overgiving. It's like, it's scary. I get it. I get it. It's scary. Like, you're once a person who was so giving and so loving and happy. Maybe not happy, but just someone who's so loving and so giving. And then you've been hurt so many times, and then you get to the point where it's like, I think I hate everybody. And that scares you because you were once this loving person. And nobody talks about that transitional phase of, you know what, I think I hate everybody, before you get to the place of protecting yourself properly and preserving your energy properly. Nobody talks about that. And it's not a linear process. And I feel like in your present, you're realizing that, or you're currently going through that transitional phase of realizing that loving yourself you're gonna have to navigate some tough emotions that you're not used to feeling before it gets to a point where you have a healthy, you navigate life a little bit more healthier when it comes to social affairs. Let's see what's for your future. Yeah, we have the social siren in the reverse. Bianca Barclay. See, Bianca Barclay, I'm gonna turn this up right real quick. Bianca Barclay was a bitch, and we were just talking about this. Bianca was a bitch. Okay, she was a siren, and she had the power to bewitch people with her song, and she had the power to make them do whatever she wanted. And she didn't like Wednesday. She was a bitch towards Wednesday. She was jealous of Wednesday. But when it comes to the future, but Bianca eventually changed again after everybody had to save the fucking school. Because Wednesday brought woe. Wednesday brought woe to the school, right? Wednesday brought trouble. Sis was getting into trouble, and she pissed me off in the new season. Like she was pissing me off a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. Wednesday, not Bianca, but Bianca being in the reverse. Let's see. Also, Bianca had a strange relationship with her mother. Her mother wasn't able to sing or wasn't able to talk. And I don't remember what happened between her and her mother, like towards the end, but I know that she had an estranged relationship with her mother. That could resonate with you as well. And if you have a desire to go non-contact with your mother, I feel like eventually, that'll occur. That's if you have a desire to, you can always not stop talking to your mother or going no contact, because even though Bianca should have, she didn't. As a matter of fact, she was helping her. She was hiding her in a hotel, and she was bewitching, the staff with her song so that her staff wouldn't, find her mother. But yeah. Anyways. She was a bitch for no reason. I was like, girl, it's not that serious. And then her man liked Wednesday. He started developing a crush on Wednesday. Wednesday overheard their conversation in his dorm. And then Bianca was like, she thinks she's better than everybody else. She was talking about Wednesday. I was like, girl, no, you're just insecure, and I don't know why. The reversed meaning of the social siren is take care not to turn your voice from a siren song to a warning alarm. Unnecessary cruelty, arrogance, or a bad attitude won't make you any chums. Unless you're looking to attract frenzied sharks, be prepared to back up your words, especially in a social setting. Bianca Barclay, a competitive queen bee. Bianca Barclay is a natural leader thanks to her siren influence and social standing among the student body. Yes, Bianca is popular. But she was a bitch for no reason. And she was competitive, like the book said. She was competitive. And it's like, girl, you literally have come on now, simmer down. In the future, how to? I feel like you should be wary of misguided anger. How to? If you could get some therapy, honey, I encourage you to. I mean, Spirit is aiding you in this transitional period of, having stronger boundaries and everything. Because I do feel like your boundaries have put you in a tough spot in the past. Have caused you a lot of pain in the past. Your lack of boundaries has caused you a lot of pain in the past when it comes to various experiences. And this pain did not go away just because your circumstances may have changed, or, I feel like it's catching up to you, actually. And you have to be careful. And I get it. Being scared of yourself is valid, and who you're becoming is valid, because I do feel like you have strong emotions, powerful emotions, too. And you have to be careful that they're not misguided. If therapy is something that you are willing to try out, I recommend you do so. Basically channeling this energy and this anger somewhere else and not onto other people. Does that make sense? In the future, I do feel like you will find your voice. I do feel like you will start to realize more who you are, and where you stand on a spiritual level as well as a social level, gaining more confidence in yourself. But I feel like in conjunction with this unbalanced passion that you have, and also you gaining more confidence in yourself and understanding who you are, is not a good mix. Because with you specifically, I feel like your emotions are very powerful, and you could be unpredictable sometimes, and there's no telling what you might do. And last thing you want is to fall out of favor with the spirit realm, because your emotions are so strong, and you're too arrogant, and you forgot to come back to yourself, to come back to this Eugene archetype. Someone who's humble, someone who's helpful, because this is not a bad thing. I know that being too giving and being too helpful has hurt you in the past, and now you have this glow up. Now you have this glow up, and now you're more confident in yourself. Now you're sure of who you are now. This is never a bad thing. It just needs to be balanced. It just needs to be balanced. And I feel like you need to keep that part of yourself, as well as adapt this new part of yourself that doesn't take no shit, that is assured of themselves. I hope you enjoyed your reading, okay, pile 2? And I'll see you another time, okay? Bye. At pile 3, welcome to your reading. Relate to your past cards, may relate to your distant or recent past. Your present cards may represent an overall situation or a specific, situation or an aspect, and your future cards could represent your far and near future. Okay, so for your past, I'm gonna pull 2 cards for your past. So for people who chose image 3, what have they been through? What are the roots? What have they been through? What are their roots, and what shaped them? Where have they been? And then the present. What's happening right now around them? Where are they in their life right now? I love these cards. It's so big. And then move these over. Their future, where are they headed? What's coming next for them? And okay. Okay, so first we're going to look at your past. So we have the 2 of Pentacles, and we have the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Pile 3, your past. You could be a single mother or a provider of some sort. And I feel like you had to take on a lot of responsibilities, and you had to juggle a lot of things. This may have been a tough shift for you, but I feel like you owned it like a champ. And I feel like you're doing okay. When I think of the Queen of Pentacles, I think of a woman that embodies Capricorn energy. A woman that's loyal. And you don't have to necessarily be a woman, but you could embody these attributes. A Capricorn is someone that's loyal, someone that takes their time, someone that's delicate. They could be serious. They could be serious. But I feel like, given we're talking about your past, I feel like you were forced into a role where you had to provide earlier than you would have liked. If you weren't a provider, I feel like back then you felt the pressure to live up to a certain standard. Be beautiful, maybe, have certain material things, have money, be stable, you know, needing your own car, needing your own place, needing a job, etc., etc. Basically, there was a pressure on you to be your best self, whether it be appearance wise or materialistic wise. And I feel like something may have happened, you know, that forced you to, you could be a Taurus as well. Also, something may have happened to where you had to get sober or something. You had to get sober, or you had to fight an addiction. You may have also been raised by a single mother as well. Again, take what resonates and leave the rest, you know, and if nothing resonates here, then feel free to pick another pile. And there's a feeling here, I don't want to say that you forgot where you come from. There's a feeling here of wishing that things didn't happen the way that they did. But you could also be a person that owns, you know, their past as well. Actually wears it with pride, because I do feel like that you had to dig yourself out the dumps in some way, shape, or form. And you could identify as self-made. You could also be an entrepreneur. You took a big risk to start an entrepreneur, you know, journey. But I feel like something happened when you really sat with yourself and you said something's got to give. I feel like it may have taken you a while to figure out what you were good at, or your purpose even. And you may have to start very little, start small, start from the bottom, and work your way up to being this fox to being this kangaroo. You may have also had to lose weight, because this fox here is exercising, and you have lost weight and you're slimmer now and you look better. And I feel like you really had to reinvent yourself, Powell 3, in some way, shape, or form. Let's see your present. Let's see what your present, you know, has to say. We have the Devil. And then we have the Hanged Man. Okay. Pile 3, you might be battling with suicidal thoughts. I don't know if I can say that. Should I say that? I don't know. You may be battling with suicidal thoughts. You may also be battling a depression, even. At a standstill, figuring out where you should go. You know, the first card that we had was the Devil, which is 15, and then the Hanged Man is 12. And there's a descendant. There's a descendant here. I feel like this is a situation where you used to feel like you were on top of the world. Now circumstances have changed. Things have changed. And now you are back to that place of feeling inadequate, or feeling like there's obstacles in your way and you need to change something again. Change something again about your circumstances or about you. This feels like a back to square one energy. And what am I even living for? This could have something to do with the political climate of the world right now, the political state of the world right now. I think you should stop, calm down. I think that, you know, you becoming a little bit more angry, but not like raging angry. It's more so like I'm upset, you know. And this is the kind of upsetness that doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of sits on your chest. I feel like it's sitting on your chest. Yes, you may forget that you feel it, but it's like it always comes back. It always circles back. These negative emotions, these negative emotions always circle back. You could have also dealt with someone that was toxic, whether it could be a love interest or friend, or you may have also fell out with somebody. Let's get more cards. Can you clarify the present cards, please? What's going on with Pile 3 in their present? The Four of Cups, yeah. There's a feeling of apathy here. Of apathy. Not feeling satisfied. And I feel like you put on a brave face. Pile 3, you put on a brave face and act like you're fine. And pretend like you're fine. You go to work, you know, carry on like normal routine. And I feel like you're just waiting for something to change. You're just waiting for something to change. You're waiting patiently. You know, you don't want to die. You don't want to die. And so you're trying to keep the faith. But I do feel like there's a feeling here of lashing out or taking your anger out on others. Engaging in reckless behaviors. You could suffer from not suffer. Bad choice of words. You could be bipolar or suffer from manic depression or you know, and which can cause you to engage in reckless behaviors. And you may also feel like you're imprisoned inside your own mind. I just want to say that you're very strong, Pile 3, and I'm rooting for you. I am. And there's a feeling here of feeling like what you do isn't enough. What you do is enough. Because I could clearly see here in your energy that, first off, you're very strong and disciplined. You could be an earth sign, a Taurus or a Capricorn, maybe even an Aries. But I feel strong earth here. Like there's 2 Capricorn cards here. Very disciplined, Pile 3, and hats off to you, honestly. And there's a feeling here of wearing a mask, putting on a brave face, but underneath, I feel like you're upset. You're upset. You're uncertain. You don't know what's gonna happen. This could be triggering for some. You don't want to, you know, die, but it's hard for you to see a way out of these negative emotions that you're feeling. And like I said, you could be suffering from some sort of chemical imbalance, and it's just heightened because of the state of the world right now. It's heightened. Now I'm so sorry. What about your future? Future. You know what? I think I know what images to use now. I'm gonna use SpongeBob images. Future. Let's see. What is Pile 3's future? We have the 8 of Cups. We have the Page of Wands. When it comes to your future, I do see you being more happier and tolerating your emotions better. I do see you stopping to feel these emotions, like not stopping to feel these emotions. I do see these emotions that you're feeling cease to exist. Nothing's forever, Pile 3. I have to say that. Nothing is forever. Okay? Don't make a permanent decision to a temporary. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Does that make sense? I don't know. But basically what I'm saying is nothing is forever, and that these emotions that you're feeling, I know it may be heavy now, but eventually they'll subside. Things eventually will get better. And I see you walking away from these negative thoughts and emotions, and pretty much so zenning. Didn't I say woosah earlier? Woosah. Pile 3. Woosah. And as you can see, this octopus is zenning. Okay, he's zenning, he's meditating, and the moon and the sun are behind him, and there's a balance here. You are going to go back into balance. I do feel like you're going to go back into balance. And you might even with the help of friends or a celebration or partying, somebody might invite you to a party, Pile 3. Somebody might invite you to an event or a wedding or something where you're able to celebrate and have fun. A rave even. It could be something as small as, I don't know, the park or something. Someone is going to invite you somewhere. And this is going to be very healing for you. It's going to allow you to forget just for a little bit. Whether it's 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. It's going to allow you to just remember life as something worth living. And it's going to be an energetic reset for you. And even 4-4, it's like, I do see you going back into balance. Pile 3. I do see you going back into balance. And you should go dancing. You could also take it upon yourself to do something fun. Go dancing, do some karaoke. Take the time out to do something that you enjoy doing. It could be something as small as, I don't know, washing your face, getting a manicure. But I do feel like it's something that needs to be interactive. I don't think that you should do something that other people do for you. I do feel like it's something that, like dancing or something, or making something, doing a DIY project, even making a vision board even. I do feel like you have to do something positive in order to meditate. But something that doesn't involve a lot of thinking either. Because, you know, y'all, washing dishes is a form of meditation. Because it doesn't require a lot of... What the fuck? Because it doesn't require a lot of thinking. It's like something that's very meditative. And that you don't have to think a lot about, you know? But also let it be something that's fun. Capiche? I hope you enjoyed your reading, Pile 3, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.